Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a topic that's become a real battleground: transgender people and public restrooms. It's a debate that is so often fueled by fear. But we're going to look past all that noise and get straight to the facts. What does the evidence actually say?
You've probably seen this story, right? Making the rounds online or maybe on the news. It's this scary scenario that's designed to create what activists have called bathroom panic. It's this persistent myth that paints transgender people, especially trans women, as some kind of threat.
But here's the thing. When you move past the panic, when you actually ask the experts, the people who deal with violence and its aftermath every single day, a completely different picture starts to emerge.
And that quote, that's from a major victims advocacy group. I mean, anti-sexual assault organizations, the very groups dedicated to protecting victims, are crystal clear on this. This fear has absolutely no basis in reality. They see it for what it is, a harmful distraction from the real causes of sexual violence.
Okay, so what about law enforcement? You'd think if this was a real problem, they'd be the first to know, right? Well, in places that have had non-discrimination laws for decades, like Minneapolis, which put them in place way back in 1993, police have found nothing, not even remotely a problem. Decades of experience show it just doesn't exist.
And it's not just Minneapolis. In fact, you've got officials from at least 12 states with these laws on the books, all saying the exact same thing. From Hawaii to Colorado, the data is consistent. The myth, it turns out, is just that, a myth.
So this is the crucial point. If transgender people aren't the threat, then what does the reality of violence actually look like here? Well, the data reveals a story that's a complete opposite of the one we're told.
Get this. A landmark 2021 study from the Williams Institute at UCLA found that transgender people are over 4 times more likely than cisgender people, that's people whose gender identity matches the sex they were assigned at birth, to be victims of violent crime. Not perpetrators, victims.
And this chart right here, wow, it just lays it all out plain and simple. Just look at that bar on the left representing transgender people. Over 86 violent victimizations for every 1,000 people. Now compare that to the bar for cisgender people, which is under 22. The difference is staggering. It couldn't be clearer who's really in danger. And when you dig into the details, it gets even more devastating. We're talking about nearly half being sexually assaulted in their lifetime. More than half experiencing violence from a partner. This isn't just an isolated issue, it's a pervasive, full-blown crisis.
But it's so important to remember, these aren't just statistics on a slide. Behind every single one of those numbers, there's a person, a story, a family. This is a devastating reality for real people.
In just the last few years, we've seen these horrific, tragic deaths. People like Brianna Gay, a teenager. Next, Benedict, a 16-year-old who died after an attack in a school bathroom. Amber Minor, a trans woman who was killed. And in every single one of these cases, their identity was at the very heart of the violence they faced.
It all leads to this absolutely gut-wrenching question from activist Iridescent Roney, who posed this to lawmakers. How many of us are going to have to die for you to care? Just let that sink in. That's the voice of a community that isn't a threat, but is deeply, profoundly threatened.
So that just begs the question, right? If the facts show the complete opposite, why is this myth being pushed so hard? Who actually benefits from all this fear?
Well, the bathroom myth works as this incredibly effective distraction. By making everyone focus their fear on this tiny, marginalized group, it pulls our attention away from where the real danger is. And the research is crystal clear on this. The overwhelming threat of violence, especially against women and children, comes from cisgender men, often people they already know and trust.
There's actually a term for this specific kind of hate: transmisogyny. It's this ugly mix of transphobia and misogyny. And here's how it works. You scapegoat trans women, paint them as these dangerous invaders to supposedly protect women. But really, it's not about protecting anyone. It's all about reinforcing old-school, patriarchal ideas about gender by punishing anyone who steps outside those lines.
And that is exactly why the very organizations fighting to end sexual violence are standing up against these anti-trans initiatives. They get it. They see the truth. They understand that fighting trans misogyny is part of the exact same struggle as fighting misogyny. They know that trans people, and especially trans women, aren't the enemy. They are crucial allies in the fight for everyone's safety.
So we'll leave you with this to think about. The data couldn't be clearer. The experts are all in agreement. This trans threat in the bathroom is a myth. But the violence against transgender people, That is terrifyingly real. So maybe the question we should all be asking isn't who's in the stall next to me, but who really benefits when we're all looking the other way.